East Richmond Education Centre is one of a number of schools across the Strait region that's preparing for reopening this week. However, reopening looks a little different than it did last school year, which looked very different from the previous school year before the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there is a sunnier, more optimistic outlook for the Strait Regional Centre for Education and its staff as they get ready to welcome back something that looks a little closer to normal for students, teachers, families, and everybody connected to local schools. To help explain all of this, and to help explain the stages of masking for students and teachers at these schools, I spoke to the Regional Executive Director for Education for the Strait Regional Centre for Education, Paul Landry. Here's that interview conducted via Zoom at his office in Port Hawkesbury right now. For everybody involved in education across the Strait region, obviously, Antigonish, Guysborough, Inverness, and Richmond, what's the mood like for you? Because I know you have had meetings now with the principals, with the various union local representatives, teachers, bus drivers, etc. So what's the feeling like for all of you as you folks get ready for this very different school year to begin?
Well, as always, Adam, we're really looking forward to our staff. Some of our staff are returning this week. Some of our pre-primary programs begin on Thursday and Friday. So our pre-primary children come in on Thursday and Friday. So and I've been going around to a number of our schools and our pre-primary programs. They're very excited and very well prepared to receive students on Thursday and Friday. And then our staffs come in on our teaching staffs and support staffs come in on Thursday and Friday to prepare for our students in grades primary to 12 coming back on Tuesday. And as always, we really look forward to our staffs, our full complement of staffs coming back, and of course our students for a new school year. We're always really excited to see them come back. And as you said, we have had some meetings, in preparation for the for startup of this school year and sort of where things are going, as we enter the fall, and the mood has been very, very positive. I think everyone's really excited where we're at provincially, and hopefully we continue along that path so we can get to phase 5 and hopefully things will return to a little bit of quote unquote normal for us.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the back to school plan that is beginning before the scheduled beginning of phase 5 on September the 15th. Of course, that contingent on Nova Scotia hitting its 75% double vaccination targets. But part of the back to school plan is broken down into two parts, one that gets going immediately, and then there's a shift after the projected reopening in phase 5 of September 15th, that involving masks. And I wonder if we could stay there for just a bit, Paula. Can you give us a sense on what are the requirements for students and teachers both before and after we reach phase 5?
Sure, Adam. So really we always want to make sure that our students and our staffs are in a safe learning environment. So we'll continue to ensure that's taking place. And of course, there'll be core public health measures that will be in place when our students and staff return to school. And of course, one of the biggest pieces around that is that everyone has full vaccination upon return. And then we'll continue with similar protocols that our students and staff saw last year, which is frequent hand washing, frequent cleaning of high touch surfaces. A big piece of that, which really everyone did a fabulous job of last year, was staying home if you're sick, or keeping your children home if they're feeling unwell. And as you touched on in your introduction there, that we'll be wearing masks inside schools and on school buses to start the school year. But we'll transition away from that, from mandatory masking once the province reaches phase 5 in its reopening plan.
Now, one thing that I was curious about in that regard, Paul, in looking at the back to school plan, is that one of the things that's being offered after September 15th, if that's when phase 5 kicks in, is that students and teachers that still wish to wear masks within the school buildings will be provided with the adequate support to be able to continue doing that. So if there's still some kids or still some teachers that want to do that or other school staff, they can. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how they're going to be accommodated?
Yeah, that's certainly going to be part of the transition, and we want our students and staff to feel comfortable if they choose to wear a mask after the phase 5 reopening. So that there will be an education piece with that, Adam. That for those students who want to wear a mask, that that's okay, and that's their choice, and we want all of our staff and our support, our classrooms and students to support those choices, and really, it'll be an education piece to say that that's okay, and we need to kind of support people who choose to do that.
What can you tell me about keeping the schools clean and safe going forward here? I do understand that there are a couple of provisions in the back of the school plan that talk about not only having support for people who do experience issues connected to COVID-19, not necessarily an exposure, but as well, there's a deep cleaning process that's going to be ongoing with the school buildings. Can you tell us a little bit about those aspects of the back to school plan?
Right. So we clean our schools very well every day, as usual. Really, we have a list that we work through, and in our schools, I just finished. I'm almost finished my tour across the region. Prior to schools opening, I visit all of our schools to ensure that they're ready for opening and clean and well organized. And I can say that all the schools that I've visited to date so far are very well prepared, very clean, very welcoming, and getting ready for opening on later this week. But we will continue with those measures in place, and as always, we reevaluate that all the time. If there's things that may come up for whatever reason, we make adjustments to support that. But as you noted as well, we will continue with the cleaning of high touch surfaces throughout the day, and that'll look different in different schools. We'll have some staff going around doing that. We also, students have been great along the way to clean up after themselves and those types of things, that they learned, I guess, a little more last year. So those types of things will certainly continue going forward.
Paul, we've been talking for the last couple of minutes about measures that are in place to guide us from phase 4 into phase 5, the idea of learning to live with COVID-19. But by the same token, on the flip side of that coin, there's going to be a bit of a return, not just once phase 5 is reached, but in the first few weeks as well, to what we might have seen normally in a typical school year. And I just wonder, can you speak to that a little bit? We're starting to see extracurricular activities come back. We're starting to see more normal operation of classrooms and of the facilities in general. So, can you talk a little bit about what the student and teacher experience is going to be like over these next few weeks as we get ready for the school year to begin?
Sure, Adam. So as you said, this school year is going to look a little more familiar, our school routines. This year we won't be having cohorts. So that'll look quite different within schools. As well, we'll have a full return to music programs, band programs. Students will be able to once again go on field trips and participate in various clubs that are in our schools. So say, for example, there's computer clubs, there's drama clubs, and sort of a longer list around that. But also, all of our school sports will return, and our gyms will be open in the evenings and weekends to community members and community groups. As well, our students will once again be able to use or fully use cafeterias, as well as able to use their lockers, which I know they're all looking forward to. As well, parents who follow public health measures will be able to visit school as well. So it's a return to more familiar routines that we're really looking forward to, and I'm sure students and community members are looking forward to it as well. So we're quite excited about that and quite happy that we're able to proceed that way.
You mentioned parents being able to come in, and I wanted to pick up on that point as well, Paul, because one of the big issues with trying to follow the pandemic rules over the last year and a half has been that individual community members and community groups have not necessarily been able to come in as per usual and have had to really be careful in terms of scheduling their visits. They've had to be careful in terms of being able to use various functions of the school building outside of specific school use. So, can you tell me a little bit about what is changing there and what members of the general public and those that want to schedule such things as, for example, a volleyball tournament in a school gymnasium, what can they expect going forward as we head into September?
I think it'll be a slow return, Adam, just sort of starting off that we get our school sports up and going. And, it'll be very familiar to many people who, were able to access buildings. So we'll still be keeping track of, as I mentioned before, sort of those core public health pieces, which would be signing in and signing out so that we have names if something comes up and we need to do contact tracing or those types of things. So those pieces will remain in place. I think as we move through September and we see what sort of phase 5 looks like, and then we'll probably look at, can we host tournaments and those types of things. But it'll be a little more of a gradual return to normal, I think, throughout September, and it'll be a very measured and sort of cautious approach. And then as hopefully as the province continues to do very well with its vaccination rates and so on, and case counts and so on, that we'll be able to sort of move back to even a little more normal, like you say, and look at larger gatherings and that type of thing in
Mm.
buildings.
We'll hope for the best there.
Yeah.
Paul, of course, the Strait region has had its difficulties during this pandemic. It was particularly difficult during the third wave back in the spring when exposures started to occur at the Sarek High School site in Port Hawkesbury. I know you and your colleagues went into action quickly on that. What do you think can be done with this back to school plan if the fourth wave that we're kind of looking over our shoulder at right now, if it does indeed settle in and we do start seeing exposures at schools again, is the plan designed that there can be quick action by you and your colleagues should there be another outbreak at a local school?
Absolutely, Adam. And as I said earlier as well, that's why we really want to encourage all of our folks who are eligible to get their full vaccination uh, completed prior to school returning. And I know we've sent a couple of letters home on behalf of Dr. Strang in the last couple of weeks, really encouraging all those who are eligible to get vaccinated to make appointments and please get them done prior to school returning. As you mentioned, if something does come up, if we do have some issues that arise, as always, we continue to take our advice from public health on that, and which means that we'll need to be flexible and adapt our safety measures as they monitor the number of cases in our region. But we have our processes in place as you said, and we'll continue with those. So it just requires a little more flexibility, and our school administrators are have tremendous support as well from public health. That if we do have a case that arises, they provide tremendous support to our staff and as to the region as well. So it's really a great team effort, and then all of that information gets communicated out to students and families and staff and so on. So it's we're pretty confident, Adam, with that process, and if, like you say, if something were to happen in a community or even the province, we can adjust to those measures quite quickly. And as we noted last year, and you noted in the spring, we had a little bit of a shutdown there period in May, And we spent a lot of time on professional development on being able to switch to at-home learning quite quickly. Where we purchased a number of technology devices and so on. So we will be reviewing that again this year as part of our planning going into this year. We will be getting ready to switch to at-home learning if need be. So that'll be one of the tools in the toolbox that we'll have ready to go. So we feel quite confident that we'll be able to manage quite well throughout the school year.
Well, just to finish on that note, Paul, nobody can predict the future, obviously. We've learned that again and again over the last year and a half. But do you get a sense, you've been in public education for many years. You served as an administrator for the previous Strait Regional School Board before starting your work here with the new Center of Education. Do you get a sense that there has been a real growth, both personal, emotional, and in terms of an organizational structure with the school board, but also with the individual schools, the teachers, and the students themselves, that's going to serve you all well as you go forward into this new year? Do you feel that lessons learned and experiences shared like this through the pandemic are going to help the future of public education here in the Strait Region?
Absolutely, Adam. One of the big pieces that we learned throughout the pandemic and as a region and an organization was just how supportive our staff and our students and our communities are of public education in Nova Scotia and particularly in the Strait region. It's really been a team effort with our community partners and health and really all of them that have come together and supported students and helped us get through really successfully and positively through a very difficult time. And there's just so many great things on that list that our community partners have worked with us through, through school food programs and supporting students who needed technology and all kinds. It's just a long list, Adam, of really positive things. So I think there has been, back to your question, I think there has been tremendous growth and leadership and at really all levels. Students have stepped up, staff have been incredible, and our families have just been so supportive of everything we've tried to do and to get through with their own families and supporting us. So it's something that we're just so grateful for. But it's been that it's really been a key to our success as we managed our way through the pandemic and as we will continue to manage our way going into this year. As you said, we're all very hopeful things will go really well this upcoming school year, but we know we think we have some great processes and plans in place if we need to make adjustments along the way.
All right. Well, we'll certainly hope for the best in that regard. But in the meantime, Paul, Landry, I know it's a busy time for you and for all your colleagues. We really appreciate you giving us a breakdown of all of this on Telile 24/7 today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. Take care.
All right, you too. Paul Landry is the Regional Executive Director of Education for the Strait Regional Centre for Education. We've been speaking to him at his office in Port Hawkesbury via Zoom.